Okay, here's a quick review of graphing linear equations, and we're going to do all three forms. So this first slide is slope-intercept form. When you see an equation that looks like this one, y equals 2x minus 7, and this one here, y equals negative 1/3 x plus 4, we are in slope-intercept form. So y equals mx plus b. The easiest, best, fastest way to graph this is to write down your m value, write down your b value, and graph from those two numbers. So our slope is this number, so I'm going to write m equals 2. Now remember, slope is always a rise and a run, so if you want to make that into 2/1 right away, you can. And remember that b is our y-intercept, and that is found right here, and that is negative 7. Now my way of trying to help you remember what to do first is I always say begin, remember this, begin with b. And again, b is the y-intercept, so it is the location where the graph crosses the y-axis. Here's the y-axis, so we need to put negative 7 on that y-axis. So negative 7 is right here. We're going to put a point there. We know that the graph crosses through that point. Now we're going to use our slope, 2/1, which means rise 2, run 1. They're both positive, so we are going to, from this location right here, we're going to go up 1, 2, and then run 1 to the right, and it's going to be right about there. So I'll put my second point at rise 2, run 1, which is right about there. And then we know that the line goes through those 2 points, so we can draw the line through those 2 points. So let's do the second one here. Same plan. Here's my slope. M equals negative 1/3. It's already in fraction form. And my y-intercept b is 4. So we're going to begin at 4 on the y-axis. Again, the most common wrong answer for these is to put that 4 right here. That's the x-intercept. Don't do that. All right, so the slope is negative 1/3. So we are going to rise negative 1 and run 3, which means we're going to go down 1 and right 3. So from here, we're going to go down 1 and right 3. It's going to be about there. Put that point there, down 1, right 3. There's our other point we know is on the line because it's a slope of negative 1/3 away from the blue point, and therefore we know this is our line. Okay, so now the second form, point slope form. His point slope form is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This form is really handy because you can tell what the slope is right away, the slope, and what the point is right away because we're going to use our x1 and our y1 to find our point. So if we want to right away notice our slope here is 2 because it's the number in front of the parentheses, so m equals 2, and just like the last form we can put that over 1. And then what we want to do is we want to write a point that we know is on this line. Again, just like when we were writing the equations, which you probably already viewed, when this says positive 3 right here, our x value, and again it's with the x, so it's our x value will be the opposite of that positive 3, so it's negative 3. And then over here by my y value, if y value is negative 1, or I'm sorry, if this is y minus 4, then our y value for y1 is positive 4. So now, we have to once again begin at a point. So we're going to begin at this point. So I'm going to plot that point negative 3, 4. So negative 3 on the x-axis, positive 4 on the y-axis. You should be looking at that point right there. Okay, negative 3, 4. And now we're going to use our slope. Rise 2, run 1. So from there we're going to rise 2 up positive and run 1 positive, and this is where our point will be. Once again, we just draw a line through those 2 points. That's not so great, but I know you can do better. And then that's it. That's our graph. Again, the second one, here's our slope. M equals negative 1/3, and our point is found, again, our x value first. So if this says negative 2, this goes in as positive 2. If this says positive 7, it goes in as negative 7. We're going to plot our point at 2, negative 7. And then we're going to use our slope of negative 1/3. So we're going to go down 1, right 3, and you should be getting to this point right here. Again, from here, down 1, right 3, down 1, right 3 gets us to there, and that is then how our line will go. Okay, and the last form is standard form. Standard form is written ax plus by equals c. Notice there's no m in this, there's no slope. Some people like to change this into slope-intercept form, but I truly believe the fastest, easiest method to do this is to use an xy teeny tiny table. If we put a 0 in for x, we can find the y-intercept. If we put a 0 in for y, we can find the x-intercept. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do this. We have 3x minus 2y equals 16. I'm going to put a 0 in for x, so 3 times 0 minus 2y equals 16. I know that 3 times 0 right here is 0. So I'm just going to say, well, that's 0, so that we're going to cancel, cross that out. Now don't cross out this negative sign right here. That's super important that you leave that there. So we're going to divide both sides by negative 2, and those cancel, and we're left with y equals negative 8. So negative 8 is our y value. And so we can go ahead and plot that right now with 0, negative 8 on our coordinate plane. 0 on the x-axis, negative 8 on the y-axis is our x-intercept. I'm sorry, y-intercept. So there's that. And then we're going to do the same thing by putting a 0 in for y. So we've got 3x minus 2y equals 16. We're going to put a 0 in for y this time. 2 times 0 right here is 0, and that minus sign goes with that, so that doesn't matter anymore either. And now we're going to divide both sides by 3. In this case, we do get a decimal. That's okay. We're going to get x equals 5.333, and we're going to try and squish that into our table here. 5.333, and so that's our x-intercept. So right over here by 5, we can go just beyond 5, and 5 1/3 it is, so it goes right about there on our x-axis, because it's 5.333, comma 0. And then we go ahead and graph that, whoa, that line. Go ahead and draw that better than me. All right, and then the last one, we'll do this one a little bit quicker. I don't want the video to last too long, I just want you to understand what to do. So we're going to put in a 0 for x, find y, we're going to put a 0 in for y, we're going to find x. This time I'm just going to go ahead and show this right in the equation. If I put a 0 in for x right here, all of this becomes 0, so then we just have 4y equals negative 20. Divide both sides by 4, I get negative 5. You can show your work for that if you need to, that's great. Now I'm going to put a 0 in here for y, and I know that that becomes 0 then, and now we have negative 2x equals negative 20. So divide both sides by negative 2, and I get 10. Again, write it out if you need to. Alright, so we have 0, negative 5, so 0, negative 5 is going to be right here for our y-intercept, and then 10, 0 for our x-intercept is here, and we've got our line.